So far away, Lucas, and lovely audience at home, welcome once again to Wiki Weekends, the show where we scour the lengths and breadths of the internet to find a Wikipedia page on something that's interesting and funny to talk about. And today, we're talking about one of my favourite reality TV shows, Bar Rescue.
I'm not aware of this one. What's this?
Okay, so far away, Lucas. First of all, like, are you aware of Bar Rescue? You don't seem to be too familiar. Like, I'm looking at your webcam now, and you're like,
is it like is it almost like Kitchen Nightmares but for bars?
It's literally just Kitchen Nightmares for bars. Yes, Lucas.
Okay.
And I adore crappy reality TV. It is one of my my biggest flaws in regards to my tastes. Is that I love crap reality TV, but not specifically and when you say I like bad reality TV, people think, do you like Love Island? No, I don't like reality TV that, but I like reality TV about niche subjects featuring people who are really, really keen and clued in on that one specific thing to learn more about it. So like Bar Rescue, I'm really interested in this guy who's an expert on bars. Kitchen Nightmares, a guy who's an expert on running a restaurant. We talked about Blown Away before, like people who are super obsessed with blowing glass.
The glory hole is so hot.
Like Metalwork Masters, the same thing with metalwork. There's like that one where they make knives. What's the other one? Like Deadliest Warrior and all that. So I love all shows like that.
I love the bunch of like car restoration shows that they've got on Netflix and stuff as well, and it's like just watching people in reality be good at their craft is really interesting.
Yeah, people who are really into a specific thing and are, experts in that field or something I'm maybe not too familiar with or even aware of that exists. I find that very interesting to watch. And alternately as well, I'm just and I think the worst kind of reality TV that I like, and the reason it's bad for me to like it is because it's demonizing me. And it is those documentaries made by Channel 4 that's like, this person's on benefits, and I'm like,
God.
Listen, people don't know, if you're American, there is a very specific subset of reality TV in the UK that is just, look at these fucking paupers trying to rip off the government for its benefits.
21-stone Debbie Wood is morbidly obese and hasn't worked in 4 years.
Yes, it demonises the poor. It demonises the working class people who are struggling. A group that I was in during my childhood, but fucking hell is it compelling to watch.
Yeah, it can be really compelling, and I think it's really funny as well because I've seen coming up on my TikTok a few times lately is people bringing up early 2000s era British reality TV shows and being holy shit, these are so brutal.
They don't care, yeah.
It's there's one where it was someone was mocking that British TV show and was, oh, look at these fat people being fat, look at the fatties, and no way was it like that. And then you look at it and it's oh my God, it was.
Yeah, it straight up is.
Britain is bulging with people who are now too fat to work.
It's the one that I hate that I like it, but it's so compelling, is a reality TV show. It's called Skint. And there's a documentary on the place where I was born and lived for several years, Scunthorpe. I know I always say I'm a northerner. I was born in Scunthorpe, grew up in Pontefract, which is a small colliery town in the north, so I consider myself to be, while not by birth a northerner, by choice, that I grew up there. I choose to live in Sheffield, a northern town. Oh, technically I'm from the Midlands, which doesn't mean anything to Americans, but British people have very strong feelings about this.
Is Scunthorpe in the Midlands? I'm really not aware of Scunthorpe.
Technically,
very much.
It's just outside of South Yorkshire, I think, geographically. Yeah. So I am technically from the Midlands, but I consider myself to be a northerner because I grew up in a northern colliery town and I've had very working class roots my entire life.
I mean, I'm not from Liverpool, but I've lived here long enough that I've had Scousers refer to me as a Scouser, and I've been given the badge of honour.
Yeah, you consider yourself to be a Liverpudlian. So, Skin is set in Scunthorpe, and it's about just people on benefits in Scunthorpe. And the reason it's so compelling for me is I know everywhere that is in that documentary. They filmed it outside my auntie's house.
Scunthorpe. Aside from having a swear word in its name, Scunny's perhaps best known for its steelworks.
Right.
And my auntie was asked to be on the show, And it's like, oh, we're doing a documentary about people on benefits who don't work. Amanda's like, I do work, I've got a job. But she worked nights, so when they knocked on her door, she answered like 11 o'clock in the afternoon in her nightie. And then just looked at her and went, sure you work. Are you sure you don't want £100 to be on this documentary? And she slammed the door in her face. And you can see her house in the documentary. It's so bad.
Life here revolves around a wall where everyone sits, called the wall.
Why do people gather here?
Because there's nothing else to do around Westcliff.
So everyone just comes here to chat and just, I don't know, just go to the shop, get a drink, come back here, just chill.
Drink beer, smoke weed.
Like, one of my friends is actually in it because he was around at his mate's house having a beer while they were filming. So he's in the show.
And that's the worst thing, isn't it? Is like so many of those shows where people got paid like £100, whatever, to then like detail how they're ripping off the government, and then like they lost so much money in benefits.
That's why it's fascinating, because it's like people, you know, when you say like they can't be this brutal, like people can't be this stupid, and they are. Like,
say crime don't pay, and it does. Crime does pay. Crime pays better than a fucking proper job.
There's a guy on the show, and he's on the show. He's like the main person in the documentary. He's got like 8 kids. He's on benefits, and he talks about, I used to work at Steelworks.
I was on £1,400 a week on the Steelworks.
1,400?
When I first started. I did every call out. I did every hour going.
You know, but then I got fired like 10 years ago. My mum watched the show with me. We were watching it. She went, no, he didn't. And I was like, what? I went to school with him. I literally went to school with him. If he started work and has been like unemployed for as long as he said, he would have started work at 10 years old. And he said this on national TV. Like, he's on national TV saying, yeah, I worked in this massive place for 10 years, then got fired and been laid off. And something you could just prove by just asking the place where he worked. And they're like, no, he's never worked here.
It's like, do you have any record of him on company like records? No.
Yeah. And he just had such confidence to be like, yeah. And it's fascinating. Like, people were doing, like, on the show, doing cash-in-hand work and bragging about it on a TV show about how they're on benefits. And then not declaring that income, then getting caught the next week. And it's like, how? And it's fascinating.
No idea how they got me. No idea how they figured it out. It's like, you admitted it on national TV.
And that's the thing, you know, speaking of, like, why would you admit this on national TV? Bar Rescue is an American reality television series that airs on Paramount Network, formerly Spike, during its first 5 seasons. It stars John Taffer, a long-time food and beverage industry consultant, specialising in nightclubs, bars, and pubs. He offers his professional expertise, renovations, and equipment to desperately failing bars in an effort to save them from closing. And I would argue, while Kitchen Nightmares is the one everyone knows, right? Or Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares for the British version. And, like, you know, it's Gordon Ramsay goes in, tries to save the restaurant. There's, like, a very infamous statistic that, like, 70% of the restaurants on Kitchen Nightmares close a year later.
But he's coming into failing restaurants that were about to shut anyway.
Yeah, so, like, you know, the fact he saves 30% of them is still impressive. But Gordon Ramsay doesn't actually do that much. Or if he does, it's not really explained on the show. And one of the reasons I like Bar Rescue is because they'll give actual reasoning for the changes that they're making. For example, like, you know, when he goes into a bar and he's like, okay, so do you free pour? And obviously they're a bar, and it's like, yeah, we free pour. And he goes, well, you're losing this much alcohol.
An overpour of 3 ounces of liquor reduces the total servings per bottle to 11 cocktails. This translates into total sales of only $77, resulting in a loss of $112 potential revenue per bottle.
It's like, what? And they'll have like a little breakdown, like, here's how much the average person will overpour by in a bar. If you have this many customers in a year, this is how much money you're losing. Then he'll present that to the owner. So he's not just going in and saying, stop doing the way you're doing. He explains why. It's like, you're losing money. Or like, they'll say stuff like, what is your bar laid out like? Okay, we've got a couple bar stools and a few tables. And he'll go, you want it laid out this way? And like, why? And then he'll show you a breakdown again of research that's been done. If the bar's laid out this way, you promote foot traffic in this way, and it results in an increase of 14% in drink sales. And the fact that he explains it to both the audience and, like, you know, the people that he's going with, it just seems more legit.
Yeah, that's fair. And again, you don't know how much is or isn't occurring behind the scenes with Kitchen Nightmares. Like, you can never know on these TV shows how much they actually show, how, you know, how many things are scripted, etc., etc. But, like, yeah, it's always nice to, like, have a actual reasoning to be like, no, this is why we are doing X and Y.
Just that male part of my brain that likes the number going up really appreciates that John Taffer will break down why the restaurant's not working. It's like Gordon Ramsay goes in like, your food's shit and your service is shit. It's like, well, we know that.
What is that? Fucking pigeon. Oh my god.
Like, what else? But like John Taffer will go in and be like, okay, so you're selling beer. Okay, beer's it's terrible for like markup wise. Like you want to be selling like shorts and cocktails. I'm like, why? They're hard to make. He goes, yeah, but a good cocktail barman can make a cocktail in like 2 minutes, and that cocktail has this much of a markup on it. You'll make this much more money. And the fact he tells them that and he explains it in that numbers way, and I've learned a lot from the show. As a former barman myself, I find it really fascinating.
Yeah, and one thing I found fascinating is like watching a video not long ago, like last few days, it was like someone breaking down, oh well, if you taste this at room temperature and you taste it like 3 degrees, you'll actually get less of the flavor because like the temperature takes away from the flavor, and that's why all of the cheap shitty beer brands market themselves to be sold as like cold as possible, because it takes the flavor, the just the nastiness away from the beer.
There's like another fascinating aspect is like little things like that where he'll talk about like oh, you want to frost your glasses. So why? Because frosting your glasses means you can drink it quicker, and if people can drink it quicker, then you get more sales. Like food, and like, well, do you sell food? And like, no, we don't really sell food. It's like, well, you should sell food because people eat food more likely they're going to spend at least half an hour in your bar. That's
and
like,
as well, they'll be less likely to leave to go get food. Like some people might, if they're hungry. Like you've got them trapped in essentially of like
it's
food there. Yeah,
it's a fascinating industry. Like just now, I'm drinking out of a cup now, so I can't really showcase it. But something that I find absolutely just like again fascinating is the design of beer glasses, for example, where beer glasses, like millions of dollars of R&D goes into designing beer glasses to make it look like when you've got a third of your beer left, that was only one swig left.
Right, yeah.
Like they're specifically designed, like, people had like the beer glass like big on top and stuff like that. There is so much money that goes into making beer glasses look like they're nearly empty when they're actually still quite full. Because psychologically that makes you want to go get another drink.
On the left, we have a standard pint glass. On the right, we are using the Nonic glass, part of Cardinal's line of nucleated glasses. The nucleation sites are created through controlled breaks in the smoothness and texture on the bottom of a glass. This technique makes for a much more appealing beverage by promoting head retention for visual appeal, as well as an enhanced aroma for the constant flow of carbon dioxide bubbles.
And as well, you're more likely, how many times you see it where like, oh, I've only got a little bit left, I'll just chug this bit and go to the bar.
Yep. And, there's like, that again, fascinating to me. But we have here, a typical episode begins with Taffer's team performing reconnaissance and surveillance on a struggling bar to determine its operational and service weaknesses, which is another thing I really like. And, how much about his stage we don't know. And later seasons, they really play up like, John Taffer bursting in and be like, hey, I'm John Taffer, because by that point, he's a well-known figure.
I asked you not to show or move your boobs. Within 1 minute of walking out of here, you were standing there like this. If your chest is more important to you than your wallet, you're an idiot. Do you get that? Your mother has a sickness.
Right.
He's that Gordon Ramsay-like figure of walking over, like, oh my god, it's John Taffer. Whereas early seasons, he just walks in and goes, so you wrote to my show, right? You bar shit.
Yeah.
He kind of plays up his personality in later seasons, so I don't like it as much, but like, they'll just do reconnaissance and they'll like to say, oh, that's bad bar service, or that's bad habits. And he'll highlight little things like that.
One thing that you obviously don't get in something like Kitchen Nightmares, where it's like, oh no, we are all prepared that Gordon Ramsay is walking through and getting these meals, and like, we know who he is, we're going to be polite to him, etc., etc.
Which also, to me, is always baffling that you'll watch like Kitchen Nightmares and Gordon Ramsay walks in and he'll say, give me something off your menu, and you'll just see Chef chuck it in microwave. It's like I've never understood that they've got the balls to put it in the microwave and give it to Gordon Ramsay. So I respect that.
You would imagine, right? Like, and some people do. Some people like go out of the way to specially prepare the meal for Gordon themselves and stuff, and like put the roll into it. But then you just get some people, who have the audacity to be, I don't give a flying fuck who you are.
Whack it in microwave, bish bosh, job done.
Chef Mike.
Is there anything today that I ate that wasn't microwaved? The salad.
The other thing that I quite like, he, in addition to going over changes he believed could be made to management, customer service, and cleanliness, etc., to make the bar profitable, he also examines the bar's financial records to find possible cost savings. That's the other thing. Like Gordon Ramsay never opens up the file. He'll say how much are you in debt. And they'll be like, I'm sunk like 250 grand into this restaurant. He never actually breaks down how much money they need to earn, or like their a plan for them to get out of it. Maybe he does behind the scenes, we don't know. But Bar Rescue does, and again, I appreciate that because the end of the episode usually ends in like a more hopeful manner of like, well, I set them up on the path to make money. Like, if they do what I said, they're like, they'll save this much money and turn over this much. They could be debt free within like 2 years.
Yeah.
He also like goes out of his way to like fire people who are like stealing from the bar and stuff like that.
And like that's always the thing, isn't it? It just I don't know how they employ some of the people that they do. Like I don't know. I've not watched Bar Rescue, obviously, but like sometimes when this guy hates me, has been treating me like shit for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And doesn't respect me at all. But, I know he's got a family he needs to look after. It's like,
so that's not your problem.
Fire him. That's not your problem.
Had you guys poured correctly, he would not have lost money last month.
Those girls costed me my business. Those girls cost me my livelihood. This is amazingly stupid!
Yeah, and it goes that brutal thing of like, then you get both sides. It's like, okay, I kind of feel for the waiter or the server. But if they're doing a shit job, like, I was in that situation, I didn't do a shit job. So if they were really as desperate for this job as they say, like, they wouldn't be doing a shit job. Like, they're taking the guy for a ride. And that's all comes into the thing like reality TV being like, specifically designed to make you feel a certain way.
Of course, yeah.
Like, they want you to have that schadenfreude of like seeing someone who's like shit at their job, like getting their comeuppance, and how much of that is artificially massaged to give you that exact reaction, we don't know.
Yeah, it's like I watched a lot of Undercover Boss in the day, and it's like that screams to me that they manufacture stuff. Like it all feels like a veil of fakeness.
Yeah, like how do you not recognise what the fucking CEO of your company looks like? Sure, it's I guess like somebody wouldn't, but
there is one episode where like everybody just stops and starts staring at this guy in the warehouse, and it's like everyone just starts whispering that I'm pretty sure that's the CEO.
I'm pretty sure that's the CEO.
Yeah,
I can tell because he's shit at doing anything manual labour related.
My name is Peter Francis. I was here to work with you today.
All right, nice to meet you, Peter. This evening, when this guy walked up to me, Peter, Mr. Kevin Sheen.
But the other things I like before we get into the meat of this article, which is failed rescues, which is the bit which is like always the most hilarious. There's so many good episodes of like Bar Rescue that just went tits up.
Oh yeah.
The one thing I want to shout out is that like John Taffer is this no nonsense motherfucker. Like not every episode, there's like one of the most common trends on Bar Rescue is guy who bought a bar because he wants to hang out with his buddies.
Right, yeah.
And it's always a sports bar, and it's always failing. And John Taffer will go in, and it's the same conversation takes place every single time. He'll ask the guy, so, what kind of bar are you here? It's like, we're a sports bar. And he'll break down why that's a stupid idea. It's like, well, how many sports what do you show? The football, baseball, basketball? Like, yeah, all of them. It's like, okay, what do you show in the off-season? Nothing. Okay, so in the off-season, there's no reason to come to this bar. Okay, first of all, yeah, that's stupid. Who's this bar for? And what do you think they say, Lucas, when they ask who's
Everyone.
the bar for? No. It's for his buddies. It's for his mates. It's for guys to get away. They want to, for guys to get away and watch some sports, sit down and have a beer. John Taffer responds every single time.
I don't know.
That's stupid. Your bar should be aiming for women.
Right.
And the owner always be like, well, no, like, guys don't want to come in if there's like loads of women here. And he goes, have you ever been to any bar?
Yeah.
And I love that he does that, where he breaks it down of every single bar he goes to, it's like a stubborn owner. It's like, who do you want this bar to be for? And they'll always say, like, they'll pitch their like, desired audience. Like, I want sports guys, I want metalheads, punk fans. Like, no, you want women.
And let's see, do the employees pay attention to you or not? Do they make you as a woman feel important there or not?
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't feel right, we got to start there.
Okay.
20 Amy's.
Yeah.
And we're good to go.
We have 80 men, 20 Amy's,
Or she's like the perfect customer.
Right?
Maybe they'll be within the subgenre of like, people you want to like appeal to. But number one, you want women. Because if women come into your bar, they bring more women. And if you've got women in your bar, men will be in your bar. But, and it's that thing of like, it's not a perfect world, but then he breaks down like, if you've got a bar that's full of men, it attracts more men. A bar full of men does not attract women. In fact, it puts them off. Here's the statistics that show that. So your bar should aim to attract women and then endeavour to be a place where they feel safe, secure, and able to express themselves.
And one of the things that John talks about all the time is that he's never seen a bar with 200 women in it go broke. And that's where they need to start, is more female-friendly marketing programs.
Yeah, because, as you say, women generally don't go into a bar full of men, but men will often go into a bar full of women.
And that's one of the things he points. And I love that you always get these like dinosaur sexist owners of like, well, no, I don't want women in my sports bar. And it's like, well, your bar's going to close. Straight up.
I can't help myself. I got eye candy. My eyes are open. And she's a baby.
The guy was so drunk, it's very uncomfortable. I don't want to hang out in a spot where they overserve all of their patrons.
This is obviously things that they bring up on the show. We're not trying to like objectify women here. It's just that like, generally speaking, those are the statistics. Those are the social behaviours, and that's what he's pointing out on the show.
Yeah, and it's just a really satisfying to see, like, you know, these sexist, misogynistic assholes get shut the fuck down where they're trying to, no, guys don't want to go. And he's like, well, I've got the numbers right, and that says you're wrong. And then, like, they get annoyed about it. It's like, well, you can't argue with the numbers. Anyway, failed rescues. The bars featured on the show are already in dire financial and operational straits. So by the time Taffer intervenes, this poses a significant challenge to a turnaround. Nearly half the bars featured, 74 of the first 166 featured through the midpoint point of season 6, were unable to overcome their challenges, and closed. Which does mean he's got like a 50% success rate for failing. That's pretty good.
I was going to say, to rescue 50% roughly of bars that you try to help that are failing businesses.
Well, you know, many of them are hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. That's pretty good, no?
Yeah, to be able to save half of those failing businesses is pretty impressive. Especially, as you say, like, a lot of these owners are, like, really stubborn and stuck in their ways.
And shit.
Decided, like, yeah, and I've decided that, you know, my way is best. And again, I've not watched this, but how many times when you do the recap of, like, Kitchen Nightmares, the ones that still do exist, a lot of the time it's like, yeah, the owners slowly like just started going back into their old ways and their old habits.
It's one of the most infuriating and yet common things you'll see in like Kitchen Nightmares and shows of its ilk. Of Gordon Ramsay will go in and say, you need to make this change, this change, this change, this change, and you'll get new customers. Like, but our old customers will hate that. And he goes, well, your old customers aren't paying your fucking bills. and it's just, they cannot get it through their heads, but our customers won't like it. It's like, you mean the customers that aren't allowing you to be profitable? Why do you care?
You put a discount on $9.99.
We do.
So how much discount?
It's buy one get one free. So it's
50%. So you eat here for $5.
Yes.
Then you look around and you look at the customers. Half them would be eating for nothing.
On the buy one get one free vouchers that have been in place historically to attract people through the door. The spend per head is very low because.
But more importantly, they're dining off, aren't they?
And it's just like, it's one of those things where it seems so obvious, like watching the show, but then to see the owner being like, well, I don't like this because what about the customers who come in? It's like, but they're not paying your bills. Why do you care?
You're failing by supporting these people.
Yeah.
Because they are not supporting you. And it's like, I know as well, the amount of times when they make the changes, the owner's like, yeah, you know, I've seen the error of my ways. This is so much better. You know, cut to a year later. Well, I didn't really like any of the changes that Gordon made.
Yeah. Then we have here, so for example, the changes on the show, the show made to Downey's Irish Pub, featured on the 2011 season, episode Downey's and Out, were not enough to prevent a planned sheriff's sale due to $2.4 million owed to the city of Philadelphia and the bank.
Oh.
So it's like, yeah, you can't really come back from that, can you? Season 1's Swanky Bubbles, after reverting to its original titles, also closed its doors. The show's first rescue bar of Season 2, Pirates Tavern, which does have its own section and is fucking hilarious, returned to its original pirate theme, but then later closed in April 2015. See below. Which we've got to talk about Pirates Tavern. Like, the Pirates Tavern is hilarious. Other bars, the Chicken Bone, Canyon Inn, Angry Ham's Garage, Weber's Place, the Brixton, Zanzibar, Stand Up Scottsdale and KC's, all reverted to their original names. The Chicken Bone brought back its previously popular menu, while Angry Hams replaced unpopular items with previously popular items from its original menu. So they brought back some changes, but kept others, which I guess works. The Rocket Room 6 in Austin, Texas reverted to its old name, the Brixton, just 6 weeks after its relaunch. The Rocky Point Cantina in Tempe, Arizona closed after a repaint of the bar triggered a code inspection, which revealed the show had not obtained permits for the repaint and other modifications. Later, further inspections uncovered years of modifications to the building that had not been completed with the proper permits. The bar owner opted to file for bankruptcy rather than bring his building up to code. Which, you know what? That's not John Taffer's fault.
No, that's not.
Well, here we go. Here's one of my, this is the one that we all want to talk about. So, Pirates Tavern. That's Pirates with Piratz.
Oh, no.
So, the pirate-themed Pirates Tavern in Silver Spring, Maryland, which had been rebranded to the Corporate Bar and Grill by Taffer, reversed all the changes Taffer makes. This is the one where, everyone dressed like a pirate.
You think it's funny that she's in debt $900,000?
No, it's not funny at all.
That's good to hear.
Neither is a grown man yelling at the top of his lungs at people who aren't children.
Well, you're dressed like a 6-year-old child. I wouldn't talk about that.
And then he turned it into, he called it literally corporate and just turned it into like a swanky upscale style, like New York yuppie bar. But then they kept all the people there still dressed like pirates.
No, what?
Because they refused to change out their outfit.
We really just dove back into the pirate theme.
That is a idiot.
The corporate bar and grill was obviously not going to work. We changed it back.
It says that what they did is they uploaded a video called Pirates Revenge showing the corporate sign created by Taffer's team being shot at and burned. The video was heavily disliked by YouTube visitors and only received a 4% positive rating. Taffer said of their decision, if you had a pirate concept that had failed for 5 years straight and a new concept, why would you go back to the concept that failed for 5 years and not try the new thing? It defies logic that someone would go back to a failed, that's just like in parentheses, concept just because they don't like their new name.
In all my years as a bar consultant, I've come up against people who challenge my ideas, but Pirates Tavern is the only one who outright threw them in the trash.
Yeah, and it's like, there's literally like a more toned down, like pirate-y themed bar in Liverpool. It's quite successful, at least, it was a couple of years ago. I don't know about COVID and all that, but it was, that classy cocktail bar with like pirate elements in the theme, and did nice rum cocktails, and no one was dressed like pirates. They didn't spell pirates with a Z.
They went all in, but then they did the thing like John Taffer. It's like they've been open for 5 years. Everyone loves the pirate theme, but not enough. You're not making a profit. It says here that the owner blamed the negative publicity from the show on the reason that they failed, even though they've been failing for 5 years, and they sought a second rescue from Taffer in 2015.
No.
Within a week of the revisited episode's premiere, however, Pirates closed its doors for good. They got two! They got two!
Oh, the fact that he
went back. They got him back.
After the biggest, fuck you ever. And then still, oh, no.
It says here, LA Brew Co. failure. Taffer's most expensive rescue also resulted in his biggest failure. His visit to the Los Angeles Brewing Company during season 4 saw him put $1 million into updating the bar.
Is anybody even checking on this? I mean, you gotta validate this stuff. There's obvious signs of neglect in the system. There's mold growing down there. Richard needs to learn more about his draft system in order to serve the best beer he possibly can.
Which include the installation of a self-service beer tap and an in-house brewing system, which was intended to allow the bar, which was rebranded as LA Brew Co., to start serving its own beer. 4 months after the rescue, the brewing system was discovered to have never been used, the self-serve tap was disconnected, and the owner had reverted all changes to the bar taps and menu. In addition, LA Brew Co.'s liquor license had been suspended and the business was put up for sale. They were a bar without a liquor license.
And then, the two things that they implemented to, sell it as this new thing, they're nah, fuck that.
Because that's one of the things you do, you always try to come up with a gimmick that works for them. I think the Pirates one was really, really mean because, they could have toned it down, but John Taffer clearly just hated the pirate shit. And it's no.
That's the thing that, for that one specifically feels off, because clearly these people really give a shit about the fun pirate theme, and then he's no, let's 100% just fuck you, it's corporate. Like that's like the opposite to pirates.
Yeah, like he could have, like as you said, made it's like a nice rum bar or something with cocktails with like a bit of a pirate theme. But like, he clearly did not like that concept. And then the other one, as an example, like the antithesis that I think was really good, is there was like a Hooters style bar. Like, and it had all the women in like really like low cut tops and stuff, and it's like really like cringy in that way.
Yeah.
He rebranded that as a pool bar with like pool table, but he called it Racks.
Right.
Which I thought was like really clever. With like, it's Racks, and it has like the symbol is like, it's the racked pool balls, like the two big pool balls there. So it's like, it's cheeky, but it's not like cringy.
It's still in the same like kind of ballpark as Hooters is, and those bars.
It's closer to Hooters than it is a strip club, which is what it was more akin to. Like when he first went in, it's like strip clubs are a fine thing, but you're not going to get the average man, woman off the streets come into a bar that's like a strip club.
Yeah, like it's a very specific audience.
But I just thought that was like a really clever rebrand, like Racks. It's like that's clever. That's an interesting, and that's something else they always do as well. Like the name they come up with clearly thought by actual marketing people, and like rebrands and stuff like that have a lot of thought going into, and that is explained.
Yeah,
and just that's just bar rescue, and like I adore that show. If anyone out there is a fan of any like trash ass TV in that vein, let me know. Chances are I've already seen it. If you've got one in the comments that I've not seen and I can access, I'll go watch that shit. I love trash TV.
I can't remember the name of it, but I never watched it, but I heard a few people talk about it on a podcast of like, there's one, I think it's like Below Deck or something like that.
Yeah, that's the one that's on the cruise ship. Yeah,
on the cruise ship. Like, I was like, I remember hearing about that, and it's like, I didn't watch it, but I was wondering.
Yeah, I watched that one. I've also watched Barbecue Pitmasters. I watched them. That's the thing, I've watched them all.
Yeah.
I'm terrible. This is why I don't watch like DC movies. I'm too busy watching this shit. Cheers, everybody.